Hey guys, Jag here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the positioning and dealing with kicks on Mistweaver because those are probably the two biggest learning curves on this spec. I'll be talking about where you should stand, where you should kite, avoid kicks, and what to do when you get kicked. So with all that, I'll get right into it. Positioning as Mistweaver is very difficult compared to other healers, contrary to what many might believe. You need to be mindful of where your teammates are, where your enemies are, but also where you placed your port. Many people think that Mistweaver's mobility makes positioning much easier, but Mistweaver can't move and heal at the same time for the most part. When damage is high, you need to plant your feet and cast, which makes kicking and CCing very easy against Mistweavers. So I'm going to go over the strategies you can use to try and deal with this. As soon as you enter the arena, the first thing you want to do is put your port down and then get away from it. You don't want to go too far away because then you can't port, and you don't want to be too close because then your port doesn't take you anywhere. Once you have your port down, you want to stay 40 yards away from the fight to avoid CC, interrupts, or potential swaps to you. If they decide to attack you, then you can use the pillars to LOS casters or your mobility to kite melee. When you use your chi torpedo, you want to make sure you don't get too close to your port or range it like I said earlier. Instead, kite around it back and forth, or if given time, you can also move your port around. And then when you are in trouble, you can use your port to save yourself. You will find yourself out in the open sometimes chasing down your DPS, who might be playing aggressive for pressure. You can also use your port to dodge CC. You can also use Zen Focus Tea to avoid kicks, and you can also use Revival with Peace Weaver to avoid magical CC. The only time you want to push in is if you're going for in-cap, Song of Chi-Ji, or leg sweep, but be very careful when you do this, as enemies can potentially punish this pretty hard. As soon as you CC, you need to dip out as fast as possible and continue healing far away. I'm going to show you an example here where I am staying nice and far away, but my warrior stormbolts the kill target. So I want to push in for some cross-CC on this healer and get an in-cap, but as soon as I do, you'll notice that the DH saps me instantly. This is what I'm talking about, where you need to be really careful about pushing in. Luckily, it does break and the Windwalker misses his ROP, but this could have gone very wrong. Instead, what I could have done was I could have rolled in this direction and potentially in-cap him behind the pillar and safely get a Song of Chi-Ji. And you don't even have to go for a Song of Chi-Ji either. You can also just go for the leg sweep. The next thing to talk about is what happens when you get kicked. No matter how good you are, it will happen eventually, but you have a lot of options. If they are attacking you, then you have 2 to 3 defensives you can still use while kicked. You have your Fort Brew, your Dampen Harm, and your Emblem Trinket if you're running that. Then, if they are attacking your ally, or when you're kicked, or even if they're still attacking you, you can still CC with Leg Sweep and in-cap, and also Disarm if you're taking that talent. You also have Bone Dust Brew to use when you're kicked or silenced, since it is on a different school of magic. You can also use Chi Torpedo and Tiger's Lust to get away and maybe line them behind a pillar. If you do this, I find that Ring of Peace is a good option when your interrupt ends, so you can keep them away and give yourself time to cast. You can, of course, also use Zen Focus Tea to stop people from kicking you. When I use this ability, I like to use it mid-cast to potentially juke kicks like this instead of before, so you can get the kick out of the way for later on. My last little tip here is kind of situational, but not everyone knows this. So normally, if you get kicked, you can't port. However, if you port first, and then they catch up to you and they kick you, you can still port back. This could be a really good way to bait enemy kicks so you don't have to deal with them later. But that's all for this video. I hope you guys learned a lot. This was a lot of information at once, so just be mindful of it and get lots of practice in the arena. Once you get it down, Mistweaver will become a lot more fun for you. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one.